There are 7 specific money rules that rich Americans follow without exception. Rules that most people have never been formally taught, never seen written down in one place, and never had explained to them in plain language. And the window to use these rules before 2026 ends is closing faster than most people realize. Because the financial decisions you make in the final months of this year, about your investments, your taxes, your debt, your savings positioning, will compound into outcomes that either work powerfully for you or quietly against you, going into 2027 and beyond. Today, I am laying out every single one of these 7 rules, exactly how rich Americans apply them, and exactly what you can do to start using them before the year runs out. Welcome to Wealth Analysis Network, the channel that delivers deep, honest, research-backed financial analysis, so every person watching has access to the financial intelligence that actually changes outcomes in America. If you are new here, subscribe right now because every single week we bring you the kind of financial knowledge that most people spend years trying to piece together on their own. Today, we are going inside the 7 money rules that rich Americans follow consistently in 2026, the principles behind how they build, protect, and compound their wealth. And we are going to show you exactly how to apply every single one of them before this year ends. Let's go through every rule right now. Rule number 1 is the one that underlies everything else, and it is the rule that separates every financially successful person in America from everyone who is struggling. Most financial games in life are what researchers call a loser's game, meaning you win not by making brilliant moves, but by consistently avoiding unforced errors. Silly impulse purchases, avoidable debt, emotional investing, and neglected financial responsibilities are the unforced errors that cost ordinary Americans their financial future one small decision at a time. Rich Americans apply this rule by treating every financial decision as a deliberate choice rather than a default. They do not buy impulsively. They do not carry high-interest debt without a specific plan to eliminate it. They do not make emotional investment decisions based on headlines or market fear. Before 2026 ends, apply this rule by auditing every financial leak in your life, every subscription you are not actively using, every impulse purchase pattern you can identify, every dollar leaving your account without deliberate intention. The recovery of even $100 to $200 per month from financial leakage, redirected into investment, compounds into a dramatically different financial outcome over 5 years. Rule number 2 is the rule that rich Americans never violate under any economic condition, and that is the pay yourself first principle executed through automation. When investors have money left over each month, 56% save it while only 44% invest it. And the tendency to overemphasize liquidity over investment is one of the most consistent wealth-limiting behaviors in American personal finance. Rich Americans reverse this entirely. Before a single bill is paid, before a single discretionary dollar is spent, a predetermined percentage of every dollar of income automatically transfers to a savings or investment account. They never see the money in their spending account. They never have the opportunity to spend it first and invest what remains because they know there is almost never anything remaining. Before 2026 ends, set up at least one automatic investment transfer scheduled for the same day your paycheck arrives. Make it non-negotiable. Even starting with a small amount builds the infrastructure of the habit that eventually funds everything else. Rule number 3 is the one that the wealthiest Americans apply with the most discipline and that most ordinary Americans violate every single year. And it is the rule about long-term thinking over short-term reaction. According to research on how wealthy investors approach markets, they commit to their investments for the long haul instead of chasing quick profits or reacting to market noise. This long-term mindset helps rich investors avoid panic selling during market drops and rewards them from the economy's growth over time. The lesson for everyday investors is to do your homework before buying and then focus on holding quality investments for the long term. In 2026, a year defined by geopolitical volatility, Federal Reserve uncertainty, and market swings driven by news cycles, the rich are not adjusting their portfolios based on daily headlines. They are staying invested, continuing to contribute and using market declines as buying opportunities rather than reasons to exit. Before this year ends, review whether you have made any investment decisions based on fear or market noise in 2026, and commit to a written investment policy that defines your strategy so that the next period of volatility does not trigger an emotional decision that destroys years of compounding. Rule number 4 is the tax engineering rule, and this is the rule that creates the largest legal financial advantage between the wealthy and everyone else in America. In 2026, the federal estate tax exemption is $15 million per person, and high net worth families are actively using lifetime gifting strategies, trusts, and proactive tax design to preserve wealth across generations. For everyday investors, the equivalent rule is maximizing every available tax-advantaged account before the calendar year closes. Rich Americans never leave tax-advantaged space on the table. The 401k contribution limit in 2026 is $24,500. The Roth IRA limit is $7,000. The health savings account limit is $4,300 for individuals. Every dollar contributed to these accounts before December 31st reduces your current or future tax burden and allows more of your wealth to compound without annual tax drag. Before 2026 ends, check exactly where you stand against every contribution limit available to you and close every gap you can afford to close before the year resets. Rule number 5 is the real estate positioning rule. And this is the rule that rich Americans use to ensure they are always on the ownership side of the inflation equation rather than the renting side. Real estate is a major part of wealthy investors' portfolios because it offers income and diversification. And for everyday investors who do not have the resources or knowledge to invest in private real estate directly, real estate investment trusts that historically have returned 8 to 10% annually offer a convenient and accessible way to benefit from real estate appreciation without managing property. The rule is not that you must own physical property, though homeownership remains one of the most powerful wealth-building tools for middle-class Americans. The rule is that some portion of your wealth must be positioned in real assets that benefit from inflation rather than being destroyed by it. Before 2026 ends, ensure that your portfolio includes some form of real estate exposure, whether through direct property ownership, REIT ETFs, or home builder-focused funds, so that you are participating in the appreciation that inflationary environments historically drive in hard assets. Rule number 6 is the diversification beyond America rule. And this is the rule that rich Americans apply to protect their wealth from overconcentration in any single economy, currency, or market cycle. Portfolio projections for 2026 show expected 10-year United States equity returns at approximately 5.9%, while fixed income and international allocations offer complementary return profiles that reduce overall portfolio volatility. The families and investors who win in 2026 are aligning diversified public and private allocations rather than concentrating entirely in domestic equities. Before this year ends, review what percentage of your total investment portfolio is concentrated in United States stocks and what percentage has exposure to international developed markets, emerging markets, or other asset classes that do not move in perfect correlation with the American market. Overconcentration in any single market is the kind of unforced error that rule number 1 exists to prevent. Rule number 7 is the rule that ties everything together, and it is the simplest, most powerful, and most consistently applied rule in the entire financial lives of rich Americans. Building wealth requires avoiding one of the most punishing financial traps in America, racking up high-interest debt in a consumption society where it is far too easy to spend $20, $40, or $100 at a time on a card until debt makes it nearly impossible to build wealth because interest is punitively working against every financial move you make. Rich Americans treat high-interest consumer debt as an emergency to be eliminated before any other financial goal is pursued, not because they are frugal, but because they understand the mathematics of compounding working against them. Every dollar paying 20% interest is a dollar that cannot compound at the market's historical average in their favor. Before 2026 ends, make a specific written plan to eliminate every high-interest debt balance you carry, and commit to never letting that category of debt accumulate again as a non-negotiable financial rule. So here are the 7 money rules that rich Americans follow before 2026 ends. Avoid unforced errors by making every financial decision deliberately. Automate investing before spending so the system works regardless of discipline. Think in years and decades rather than reacting to weeks and months. Use every available tax advantage contribution limit before December 31st. Position in real assets that benefit from inflation rather than being destroyed by it. Diversify beyond concentration in any single market or asset class. And eliminate every high-interest debt balance so compounding works entirely in your favor. These rules are not complicated. They do not require a high income or special access. They require knowledge and the decision to apply them before the calendar resets, and another year of compounding either works for you or slips past you. If this analysis gave you 7 specific things you can act on before 2026 ends, please give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to hear these rules before the year runs out. Subscribe to Wealth Analysis Network if you are not already part of our community, because every single week we bring you the deep, honest, research-backed financial analysis that helps everyday Americans understand the system and build real wealth inside it. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 7 rules are you implementing first? I read every single one. See you in the next video.